Friday.
Can you give us a preview of the President's Justice Department speech?
Sure, I'd be happy to. As you know, the President will be heading there later this afternoon. The Attorney General will be there, as well as the FBI Director, Kash Patel. And the President is going to give a speech focused on restoring law and order to our country. In the last 4 years under the Biden administration, we unfortunately saw a Department of Justice that was weaponized against Americans for their political ideologies. It was not focused on fighting violent crime and restoring law and order and public safety. So the President will be talking about his intention to restore those very basic American values to our country. And he will also be there with fentanyl families and angel moms who have lost their children at the hands of illegal migrant criminals who the previous administration allowed into our country, and also, of course, to illegal Chinese fentanyl, which, as you all know, the President feels very strongly about cracking down on drug cartels, drug trafficking, and human trafficking as well. So you'll hear about all that later this afternoon. I don't want to get ahead of the President any more than that.
Karoline will talk to President Putin during the day.
I don't have anything on the President's schedule, but that could obviously always change. As you saw his Truth Social this morning, he is putting pressure on President Putin and the Russians to do the right thing. Yesterday was a productive day for the United States of America and for the world in terms of peace. We have never been this close to peace. You saw the NATO Secretary General in the Oval Office yesterday. You were there with us, who said that only because of President Trump are we here on the verge of brokering a peace deal. Go ahead, Elena.
Did the President talk to President Trump last night on the phone?
President
Trump talked to President Trump talked to President Putin last night on the phone.
He did not, no. Steve Witkoff spoke to him yesterday in Moscow, as you know.
Has the President spoken with the incoming Canadian Prime Minister at all this week? I know earlier this week you said they hadn't yet spoken, but given everything that's going on between the United States and Canada, have they spoken?
To my knowledge, they have not spoken. When they do, we can provide a readout of that call.
Do you have any update on the New York governor meeting, Hochul's meeting with President Trump?
Yeah, I believe it's still ongoing, or it wrapped when I came out here. But, the governor was here to talk about the pipeline that President Trump is very determined to get passed in the New England and New York area. And so, that's as far as I know about the conversation, but I can get an update on it.
Karoline, district court rulings about all the fired probationary workers. You used the same language here just now that was in the statement about fighting back against that ruling. Do you mean appealing or something else? And does the administration plan to comply with those orders in the meantime?
Fighting back by appealing, fighting back by using the full weight of the White House counsel's office and our lawyers at the federal government who believe that this injunction is entirely unconstitutional. And it is, for anybody who has a basic understanding of the law. You cannot have a low-level district court judge filing an injunction to usurp the executive authority of the President of the United States. That is completely absurd. And as the executive of the executive branch, the President has the ability to fire or hire. And you have these lower-level judges who are trying to block this President's agenda. It's very clear. And as I just cited, I was appalled by the statistic when I saw it this morning. In 1 month, in February, there have been 15 injunctions of this administration in our agenda. In 3 years under the Biden administration, there were 14 injunctions. So it's very clear that there are judicial activists throughout our judicial branch who are trying to block this president's executive authority. We are going to fight back. And as anyone who saw President Trump and his legal team fighting back, they know how to do it. He was indicted nearly 200 times, and he's in the Oval Office now because all of the indictments, all of these injunctions have always been unconstitutional and unfair. They are led by partisan activists who are trying to usurp the will of this president, and we're not going to stand for it. Thanks, guys.